Cool, awesome. Okay, cool. Let's see if this is working also. Anyway, how many of you guys heard about snaps? Okay, cool. Okay, some people. Are you excited about Ethereum Zurich? Yeah? Are you excited about Ethereum Zurich? Yeah? Can I hear some energy? Cool. I know it's Friday, but that's definitely super exciting. So I will talk about snaps. I don't know how many DevRels are in the room, or many developers are in the room. Cool. Awesome. So I don't know if you guys ever used a snaps or you build a snap with Flask, but it's definitely super exciting. This talk is all about permissionless innovation, why we're here, how Snaps is today, and why we kind of like got this virality happening. So welcome everybody, and yeah. So I also like want to speak about frameworks a little bit. If I saw some guys raise their hands for DevRel, and you know, I currently build different frameworks for speaking literally the same language for activation, and we will basically like see what's going on with this builder hierarchy of needs, and trying to understand, you know, why the virality of enabling developers to build on top of like specific open source code is key, right? Why snaps, why permissionless innovation need to be adopted to every product and company out there. So about myself, this is actually in February that I did like an ETH Denver talk, and before that they made me like put this famous Buffycorn. I don't know if many of you guys did in ETH Denver, but it's a big thing, right? So today I'm in MetaMask. I've been building before enterprise blockchain technology stack, and I also like been building a lot of DevRel activation. And today I'm leading the entire offering around our consensus product. And so obviously I think everybody is using MetaMask day to day, but maybe you guys deployed with Infura, or even you deployed on Linea, our latest ZK EVM. Yeah, I'm just so why snaps? Why this talk is all about snaps? I want to basically emphasize everything around permissionless innovation, and I also like want to try to. I was very involved at the beginning when we launched snaps on fully open with the open beta, and today, yeah, things are going well, and we have a lot of like, you know, developer excited about different use case, and I will let you know a little bit more later. So just a quick recap, right? So for anybody that never heard about snaps, think about like a plugin ecosystem that you can actually build on top of the extension and mobile today. So you can actually do different cool things. The TLDR of also like the coolness is that when you build your own snaps, you can also have access to external APIs, so you can also build your own product snaps. Before launch, like building a snap was basically like going through like Flask is the canary version of what MetaMask is today. It's basically like a version of MetaMask for developers. And basically like you could build anything, right? Right now, if you want to be on the main directory, this directory on snaps.metamask.io, you basically need to go through like some audit process between the team. And I don't know if you saw, guys, but in ETH Denver, we also like launch a fully permissionless marketplace with Karma 3 Labs. It's a full attestation focused service. And basically you can attest snaps and basically pre-audit snaps before actually going on the main directory. I will not bore you with what you can do, but there are different use cases. Today we have 5 categories in the directory, but you can actually like build specific things. The most famous one that you probably saw, maybe you're using on a daily basis, are the non-EVM compatible snaps. So today you can actually like add a BTC snap or a Solana snap and do interaction with other chain. Decentralized identity is actually quite interesting. People are starting to build frames with basically Farcaster frame on snaps. It's actually quite interesting. Notification snap is interesting for game developers. And then you have also like account recovery, like MPC snaps. They're actually quite interesting. They're not involving any email recovery. They're actually like working with different specific extension feature, and it's actually quite interesting. Transaction Insight is also like quite interesting. I don't know if you guys used Transaction Insight before, but we actually pushed in a lot of hackathon Transaction Insight bounty, and we will have actually this weekend in Paris Blockchain Week the hackathon. We will have also some bounty around Transaction Insight if you guys are also coming. Cool. So the goal is not just saying what are snaps. The goal is also like trying to make you guys understand why a product-centric roadmap in your organization will never succeed as having like a DevRel-centric and a community-centric roadmap in your organization, right? So everything started with, when we actually like launched Snaps, everything started from like a small project led by Dan and Eric about adding like a Solana ecosystem plugin, right? It was actually an add-on. And things kind of like moved and said, okay, they presented this demo at DEF CON in 2019. And then actually they said how we can actually enable developers in the community to build top feature. At the time, there was like 2,000 or 3,000 open repo issues that we could not solve. Like we had also like, even today, we had a lot of companies trying to come with different feature requests natively, right? So we cannot keep up with the innovation. So basically what happens is we try to build this kind of like open source Snaps developer tooling that you can actually build your own extension. And that's basically like why enabling permissionless innovation is key today for getting not just the community excited, but also having a way for developer in other company or individual developers to build their own features and actually benefit on the amount of users on the daily basis that they're using the extension today, right? So let's see if the pointer is working. So this is why we need a developer ecosystem, right? And important, just TLDR, is that product is not the main thing, especially right now. I don't know if you saw like the big what's happening a little bit with Farcaster and social media. But basically, like what you want to build is a community around that. So you want to build tooling around that, but also like enable developers to build cool products, right? The second big thing is that, and I mentioned in the third point here, is that right now we're speaking always different language between the organization. Consensus is a big company, right? We are 800 plus employee. But a lot of time, even when so I started this DevRel Telegram group, right? And the cool thing is that a lot of time we're speaking about different developer activation on different language with different kind of metrics, right? So we need to speak, we need to have some standardized framework, right? And I think that's what kind of I concentrate myself for the past probably like 4 or 5 months. And actually I published like a small paper for ETH Denver. And that's what I'm talking about in the next slide, right? These are some standardization, right? So we want to also understand the hackathon, why, what is the effective, what are the key things that you want to actually get back from hackathons, and why they matters, right? Always like take care about like feedbacks to your engineering team. I think that's key. For DevRel incentives and DevRel like frameworks, like there are 2 main areas, right, that we're always speaking about. We're speaking about, the development side, on the API, on the docs, on the tooling, and then the other side is all about the relationship side. This is also one part that I'm a big advocate right now around basically DevRel organizational framework. It's all about, dividing the team in 2 main things around advocacy and evangelism. So evangelism is all about content creation flywheel. So this could be encompassing stuff like, technical blog post tutorial and specific like, content framework that you're providing with your content team inside the company. And then you have advocacy. Advocacy is all about non-traditional marketing to developers. That could be from, video tutorials, could be like, developer meetups. So different like kind of way to reach out developer in a non-traditional manner, because obviously we know that we can't reach out on a traditional way. Okay, cool. So now we're getting to this builder hierarchy of needs. So we need a standardization. This is what I mentioned before, and we need a framework, right? We need to start speaking the same language and trying to understand, okay, those are the activations that are important, and most important, this framework that we will be using need to be agnostic to any product-related activation. You remember, how many of you guys remember this Maslow hierarchy of needs? I don't know if I can use a pointer. How many of you guys heard about the Maslow hierarchy of needs? Cool. I think a little bit everybody, right? So basically what I did, that was last November, I basically like transformed this to Francesco's hierarchy of builder needs, right? What does it mean, right? So those are 5 levels. Each level is basically like very tailored to what are we doing today around developer activation and developer metrics that we want to standardize with. So think like, for example, what is exactly needed as a psychological need? What is the must-have thing in order to have a good developer experience when you're onboarding? So first and big part is obviously be present at some flagship hackathons, but the most important part here that I want to state is that if your docs are not in place, or if you don't have like an evergreen let's say the developer funnel, things like that we started like called Consensus Academy, for example, you will never be successful, right? Like you need to also when we're speaking about access to resources, could be also like your 30 minutes getting started guide, or like your 1 hour tutorial that people can just scrape from docs or some dynamic content like videos. Second part is this fourth level there, is that you cannot shill developers your product. This is the worst way and method. You can do, and we will see the funnel later, that also that's the second framework that we build. But basically what you want to do before actually putting in front of developers that they need to build on your tech stack is actually the opposite. You want to build a vertical-based use case, right? So, and this is how you're doing is building a safe space around this ecosystem, right? So you want to build ecosystem meetups. You want to actually speak about the topic, right? We are running verticalized AMA, Twitter Spaces, and specific ecosystem community call monthly. And this actually helped us to gather the attention around developers. Example, on next week we're doing an attestation space. In 3 weeks, we will do a risk-taking builder night during Token 2049. And the cool thing is that we're building ecosystem players together to speak about a topic. After you're getting this safe space, then you can actually do conversion-based initiatives, right? Third one is all about smaller hackathon, fine-tuning workshops, and mostly community engagement. And then you're going to actually things that you can get as extra. So you want to basically convert yourself as a organization that put the product in face of developer to actually be the platform to distribute and amplify community contributions, right? This is extremely important. So how you want to do that is, to virtual organization, you want to push leaderboards, you want to push stuff ambassador program and creator programs, and those things are all extra. Important here to understand is the first two levels need to be addressed before actually going over, right? And you can use that as reference for anything. So this is actually the paper / description of what much more the levels are done, and I can share the information a little bit later. Cool. So what basically we're talking about here, we need to transition to a full Web3 narrative, right? Not just including also Web2 specific tooling, but there are two main pillars that those are really care. So you want to involve community partners, you want to involve other organization to actually push a narrative that is around the vertical and not product. And then the second thing is all about relationships. So you cannot start, I'm hearing probably every day startups or even big companies, they're going to mainnet in 4 months. So they're not doing anything until they're going to mainnet. So you need to first build all this relationship with your developer ecosystem, and that's part of also the game. And I think this is one of the biggest lessons learned. Back in the days, I was organizing 10, maybe 4 hackathons per weekend per continent with a company called AngelHack, right? And we were running basically topics and bounties that were all different. What was always similar is that we were seeing the similar faces, and developers were sticking around because they were excited on the format. They were excited about the hackathon format. That's why verticals, for example, were a big win, right? And that's why it's relevant, right? So engaging developers successfully is part of the process. You want to be authentic, right? We started builder nights, and I don't know if you guys ever been one, but basically are those topic-focused events. But builder nights are going viral because people, they just come, they want to hear a specific tech stack, but they want to hear about specific topics, right? And I think the lesson learned here was really be authentic and push initiatives that are agnostic first to your product, and then you can do product conversion, right? So this is like the big, the second big framework about funneling. And basically, like the lesson learned is that when I try to see what other ecosystem were driving today in the in Web3, is that I was actually seeing that only the lower part were actually driven. All this product-specific conversion was 90% of people that were actually driving. All the budget was spent on product-specific conversion, right? And if you actually think about this, was an interesting topic because at the beginning we said, okay, no, let's actually do only Snaps workshop, right? And then we actually think about, okay, how we can gather developers that are excited about the use case around Snaps. So we actually retro-engineer, we actually say the inverse logic, right? And we actually approach the onboarding of developer based on topics. People want to build more AA snaps, right? People want to actually like trying to build game snaps use cases, right? We approach on the other way. We said, okay, let's actually speak about the game development suite, right? We took all the game development company together. We said, okay, you know, we have MetaMask SDK. What are the other tooling that are interesting for game developer to actually build? So that's where kind of like we thought about, okay, all this value-driven onboarding that today is not really being done, like let's actually set it out in some specific framework. And all this part, and this is the most important part, is that this is vertical focus, is a no-shield space, and is actually like very focused to drive developers' awareness in order to build this relationship before actually speaking about your product itself, right? So you will run an ecosystem community call before running a Snaps community call specific. You will run stuff like ecosystem newsletter. You could run even like ambassador program that are vertical focused and not developer tooling focused, right? And I think that was the big lesson learned that I want to share a little bit today. And that's also like one part, right? So always remember your docs are the most valuable assets. You want to also like strategize your onboarding based on different developer persona, not just beginner, intermediate, or advanced, but also based on people where they're coming from. You know, a lot of like Web2 devs coming from a Rust background. You have a lot of like, you know, devs that are coming from other ecosystem. You have devs that want to go in other ecosystem and then maybe they're returning back. As we saw like in the Electric Capital report, we had 32,000 steady developers. They're running every 6 months like specific steady repo, and actually that's quite crazy if you think about 32,000, right? It's super small. And one big lesson learned that I want to share is that for Snap specific, we used Bounty at the hackathons. So we did very like engineering education iteration on hackathon based. So last year we did like maybe 6 hackathons every 2 months, and every 2 months we were pushing the engineering team to come with different bounties on specific like, you know, Snaps features, and this helped us also like pushing ourselves internally. So that was definitely like a big lesson learned. And if you guys are building a product or you're planning to activate developer through IRL events, that's a good way also to optimize your budget. So we spoke a lot about one-shot activation, both IRL and non-IRL. But think about all the other parts, right? How you are building evergreen initiatives around the ecosystem. Stuff like, you know, virtual hackathons, stuff like, you know, Consensus Academy. So things that are always evergreen and they are funneling developers to contribute no matter if you are on the ground or not. So this is one big part of the game. So you want to actually like, you know, build small MVP, try it out and see what actually sticking or not, right? And I think, you know, we did 3 iterations of the ambassador program, and you know, one big part that at the beginning was missing is kind of like this evergreen, this kind of like evergreen initiatives, right? Because people are being there in your cohort of the ambassador, right? But after graduation, they don't know how to contribute. And I think one big part was actually like putting all this way to contribute. So I mentioned before that your role as a company, as a product owner, is amplifying and distributing community contributions. And that's one of the biggest part that probably you think is irrelevant, but is extremely important, right? Think about people that are building snaps and they're part of like, they just want to be amplified and distributed. So we were basically doing a full post-hackathon activations that were building, inviting them, shout-outing them on different like, community calls and, basically fostering all the relationship around this. Cool, so I don't know how much time I have. It's almost going. But important is that focus on building the relationship with non-Web 2 marketing basically strategy. Think about those framework when you're building it. This is one example about builder nights that I kind of like recap on building these verticalized developer meetups. And yeah, remember, build a safe space for developers before actually like pushing the developer suite product that you have. And yeah, just to conclude here, this is the Snaps directory. So think about that you can actually like download every day your Snap using for specific, security reason, for non-EVM compatible reason. And yeah, that's actually quite exciting what is happening. If you are developers and you want to build your first Snap on Flask, check out this guide. We have also some Snap wish list that we also like would like the community to be built. And yeah. Big thanks to Dominic. I don't know if you're in the room, but and all the team to inviting me. And yeah, and let's chat more DevRel. Let's standardize the framework. But more important, let's try to enable your developer community to build, modularity around your ecosystem. That's where we all win, right? From the user perspective and from the developer perspective. So thanks everybody.
Thank you so much, Francesco.